I come, yeah.
We got a call.
Yes. Let's go back to the lines here. Good morning, caller.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sure can.
Hi, Betty.
Actually, I had two questions.
Sure.
How do atheists deal with death? And if you have, are your families all atheists, or are some of your families Christian or whatever? And how do you deal with that?
Excellent question. I'm the only outwardly atheist in my family, and they give me grief over it quite often there. And but I mean, jokingly, my family. I was actually raised in a Methodist, baptized in a Methodist, and they still go every Christmas and Easter, and they think they're good Christians out there, and the C&E Christians there. But but for the most part, my family's pretty much open to it now. Especially now, I have my TV show and everything else. And
This is helping then.
yes,
All right.
Yes, this is helping. Yes. You want to comment on your family?
Oh, sure. Most of my family is somewhat lightly religious. I was raised in a Roman Catholic home, and it's not a big issue with them right now. I'm glad to say we did our arguing and we're done. So I don't really push it, and they don't push me. They know I don't participate in things like hiding Easter eggs or going and buying lots of presents during Christmas and stuff like that. But your other question about how do atheists treat death or approach that, if there aren't any religious funerals that take place for atheists. Atheists generally don't have any need for that. And when it comes to a funeral, especially if it's an atheist who's died, we kind of try to look out for each other in that way and make sure that there isn't a lot of religion sneaked into it, which happens a lot. But myself, I like to be cremated and take up no space of real estate and the earth we have here, while homeless people go homeless even by the family. I think cemeteries are a big waste of real estate. But
how would you deal with losing someone, though? I mean, wouldn't it give you more comfort to think of them that they're someplace more pleasant, or?
I'd like to address that, because I have just been through that recently. I lost both of my parents last year. Both of them were Christians, and they had Christian services as they requested. I also many years ago now lost a daughter. Let me tell you that for an atheist or a Christian, death of a loved one, or especially a child, is a devastating experience. And we do the same things that religious people do. We comfort one another, we grieve, and there's usually some kind of a ritual that takes place. And I think that's part of culture, part of being human, is that family and friends come together when somebody's hurting. And it's the same for us as it is for them. We don't grieve any less. They don't grieve any less because of the heaven or whatever. And I've always suspected that one reason for that is that it's really, I mean, you say, that so-and-so's up in heaven. But it's hard to just really believe that. That's why we always say there are no Christians in foxholes. Because everybody, when it comes right down to it, is just as scared of death. It fears death just as much. You may really, really believe really hard that you're going to paradise afterwards. It's hard to really believe that. I've never been so certain about anything, about my personal philosophy or whatever, as about atheism, because the facts fit together for that. And my mom and dad understood that. They tolerated me, and it was something we could talk about. And one thing that helped is that my great-grandfather was an atheist. My mom's grandfather was an atheist.
Well, I appreciate your call.
Thank you.
Yes. You have a good day. Do you have a comment?
Well, I was going to say, I think it's a lot easier to deal with losing a loved one who's died like that when you understand that it's natural, instead of the opposite, which a 50-50 chance. A lot of people in their mind think that their loved one is either right now in heaven enjoying themselves or the other place. And I just don't think it's healthy. I mean, first of all, it's not realistic. But second of all, just thinking that your loved one is burning for eternity is just not a healthy approach to that at all, I don't think.
Or even think that they've done something to deserve that death, that came to them at that particular point in time. And,
for a short lifetime of mistakes, right?
And in times like that, isn't it important that we experience what actually happens? We experience the reality, and we don't need to, or I don't need to make up things to try to make it easier on myself or my family or anything.